high-speed internet. 2,000 of us from 46 states have come to DC. We've met with congressional representatives, we've met with senators, and we met with President Biden yesterday on this and other issues. The continued and sustained funding for this program, the Affordable Connectivity Program, or the ACP as it's called, is absolutely necessary for the present and for the future of our communities, and especially those most in need. The president looked at us yesterday and he said, what do you guys need? What do you need out there in counties? You're the direct service providers. You're the ones in the trenches. You're the ones who are dealing with the homeless encampments. You're the ones with elder care. You're the ones who are at the schools. We talked about a story during the pandemic, one of many stories, where you saw kids taking their laptops over to areas like in front of a Taco Bell or in front of another facility or going to a library because they did not have the ability to do their school and to connect and to have a vital service in the middle of a time where most of the world was moving quickly and onward into Zoom and other of these amazing technologies. But the fact of the matter is it was a clarion call to all of us that we need to champion this, or we leave the most in need behind. Funding for the Affordable Connectivity Program is a moral imperative. It's akin to the electrification of the country in the 1930s, the establishment of the Internet Highway System in the 50s, and as the Congressman said, the establishment of a new superhighway or waterways that lead us forward into the future. The ACP currently enrolls over 23 million households. It helps them sustain the United States as one of the most connected countries in the world. Our progress in closing the digital divide is palpable. Families across the country, urban, rural, suburban, red, blue, they're benefiting from this internet connectivity through the ACP. This enrollment of residents has allowed county leaders to communicate during natural disasters more reliably, and it's also helped us reach underserved residents more effectively with critical services in healthcare and in human services. As we know, internet connectivity is absolutely foundational to the future of our society. Affordable access helps to ensure that we leave no family or individual behind in this increasingly connected world. Unfortunately, we are here today as funding for the ACP is set to run out by the end of April. New enrollments in the program were discontinued last week, and the Federal Communications Commission is preparing to wind down the program as they expend remaining available funds. However, fortunately, we have representatives who have banded together in a bipartisan measure, and they're championing where we need to go. The National Association of Counties, therefore, we stand here today, 3,069 strong, to ask Congress to pass H.R. 6929, the Affordable Connectivity Program Extension Act. I would like to thank the congressional sponsors for the legislation, and I'd love to turn it over to Representative Norma Torres, who can share more.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Supervisor Gore. I'm sure that you would prefer to be in nice Sonoma County. As a Californian, it's very, very cool for me, but it is such an important issue for all of you to be here and help bring together Republicans and Democrats to ensure that your voices are being heard. I'm Congresswoman Norma Torres, and as a former mayor myself, I am proud to stand with each and every single one of you. I represent California's Inland Empire, Congressional District 35. We are here to fight for equitable access to high-speed broadband internet, which in 2024 is a basic necessity. In the age of virtual meetings, telehealth appointments, and online schoolwork, it has never been more important for Americans to have access to affordable, high-speed internet, connecting all of us into our professional and personal lives. The bipartisan But the program will run out of money completely in April. And yes, folks, this is not an April Fool's Day joke. As of last week, the program stopped accepting new applications. And without this critical program, students, business owners, seniors, veterans, and families all risk losing access to essential services that keep them healthy, socially connected, and financially stable. It is estimated that nationally, 1 out of 4 households participating in the Affordable Connectivity Program are Latino. And in my state, 1 in 5 families rely on this essential service for low-cost broadband internet. Congress cannot fail the over 2.9 million Californian households currently at risk of falling back into digital darkness. In my district alone, an estimated 73,000 families risk losing internet access. And if we fail to act, last year I hosted several enrollment fairs for the Affordable Connectivity Program for seniors and families in my district. My constituents are clear. They need this program, as do so many others across America. In our bill, the Affordable Connectivity Program Extension Act is a bipartisan, common sense, and urgent bill. Congress must come together to pass this bill and keep millions of Americans from being left behind in the digital age. Thank you once again, and I'll turn it over. I'm sure my colleague Debbie Dingle is here. So I will turn it. Supervisor?
Yep.
Let you introduce yourself. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you, Congresswoman Torres. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Griffiths. I'm a county supervisor for Inyo County in California, and I also serve as the first vice president for the California State Association of Counties. I want to thank the National Association of Counties for highlighting this issue and inviting me to say a few words. I'd like to talk a little bit about how this program affects rural communities in my county and counties all across the nation. The seamless integration of technology into our daily lives is now an undeniable part of our existence. Rural economies hinge on the connectivity, cloud storage, computing power, and array of digital tools to effectively market the goods and services of our rural regions. As the demand for advanced digital skills of the workforce continue to rise, we find ourselves navigating a reality where technology is not just a luxury, but a fundamental part of our existence. Inyo County, the county that I represent, covers 10,000 square miles from the depths of Death Valley to the heights of Mount Whitney on the Sierra Crest. Distances are measured in hours, not in miles. And so access to services that may be quite common and easily accessible in an urban area are often difficult, expensive, or just out of the reach of ordinary working families. Remote and disadvantaged communities often get left behind, as well as our tribal nations. Like in my community, we have the Bishop, Big Pine Independence, and Lone Pine Paiute, and the Timbisha-Shoshone of Death Valley. Even our long-standing legacy infrastructure, from roads to water and sewer to energy infrastructure, have embraced digital technology for construction, operation, and modernization. The impact of broadband is so profound that we've come to acknowledge it as essential infrastructure. Despite its significance, broadband accessibility remains a challenge, especially in remote rural communities. Building infrastructure is difficult and expensive, and the services provided is often too slow or expensive and far beyond the financial needs of working families. Enter the Affordable Connectivity Program, a vital initiative that's bridging the digital divide and providing residents with high-speed internet access. Expanding access in rural areas like Inyo County fosters new opportunities for our local small businesses, creating jobs. The ripple effect includes improved amenities, digital skills, online education, education and job search opportunities, making broadband a catalyst for positive economic and social outcomes. I can speak from my experience in Inyo County, where I've watched families take advantage of this program, and the Affordable Connectivity Program's return on investment is beyond compare. The application of broadband connectivity also extends far beyond mere connectivity, touching every aspect of the social determinants of health, from economic stability to education, social support, and civic agency. In an area where it can take hours to reach a public meeting or access to the state capitol can be impossible during the winter, remote participation has enabled citizens in my community to have a greater voice with their government than they've ever had before. The Affordable Connectivity Program acts as a crucial backbone of support for rural communities like those in Inyo County, for low-income communities, for communities of color, and for tribal nations facing the highest barriers to broadband access. The potential loss of this program would not only impede our progress, but would exacerbate and further marginalize communities experiencing the digital divide. Finding a solution to prevent the lapse in this program is paramount, which is why I proudly support the Affordable Connectivity Program Extension Act. I offer my sincere thanks to our congressional sponsors, and for an urban perspective, I'd like to turn it over to Monica Gordon, Commissioner from Cook County, Illinois. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Commissioner Monica Gordon, and I'm here to represent the voice of a large urban county, Cook County, with about 5.2 million residents. The continuation of the Affordable Connectivity Program is crucial for Cook County residents as it directly addresses the digital divide and enhances access to essential resources, education, and employment opportunities. Currently, over 350,000 households in Chicago and suburban Cook County receive ACP support and will lose their connectivity if this program ends. By providing subsidies for internet services, the program enables residents to stay connected in an increasingly digital world, facilitating access to online education, telehealth services, job opportunities, and government resources. This is particularly significant for vulnerable populations who may face barriers to affording affordable internet access. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape, access to affordable internet is essential for individuals and families to fully participate in the modern economy and society. The program's continuation not only promotes equity, but also empowers residents to thrive in an interconnected world. Overall, the Affordable Connectivity Program's continuation is vital for Cook County residents as it plays a pivotal role in bridging the digital divide, fostering equal opportunities, and ensuring that all members of the community can benefit from the advantages of the digital age. We urge Congress to pass the Affordable Connectivity Program Extension Act. And I also want to thank the congressional as well as the county leaders here today. Thank you.
I want to again just thank our county leaders not only for being here today, but for the work that they do. If there are any questions, we're certainly able to take them now. Yeah.
Jim Phillips with Communications Daily. I've heard from a number of Republican leaders on the Hill who are adamant about coupling any additional money to ACP with some significant changes to how the program is run. Do you think that's going to be an impediment to getting this money through before the current funding expires, and is their opposition going to be a problem?
Yeah, well, let's first just say that for every good idea, there's plenty of opposition. So this is Washington, and the magic happens in those last moments of trying to get something accomplished. You know, we've heard some of the concerns. Our goal is to continue to push for the program as is. If there's constructive ideas, certainly we're open to them. But again, whether it's on its own, standalone, or a companion appropriations bill, we're going to continue to advocate, and I'm confident we can overcome the hurdles. But our goal is to get county leaders to make sure they're reaching out to Republican and Democrat members who may have expressed some concerns. Yes.
Hi, I'm Kerry Murakami. I'm a reporter with a friendly monthly news site called Routes 50 that's aimed at state and local officials. So the Senate left today, and they're coming back the night of the 26th, so 3 days until March 1st. Well, as the congressman noted, I mean, people being turned away. So are you concerned that we're going to have another CR and it's going to keep dragging out and more people?
Well, I'm concerned. We have a deadline. We have a responsibility. The people behind me, they don't get to push off their responsibilities for another 30 days or another 60 days. So our commitment is simply to try, to be clear on appropriations. The goal is to try to meet those deadlines and to wrap this up. As it relates to the ACP, the sooner the better as it comes to clarity. We have families and individuals who are being notified, as has been mentioned, that the program will end and affordable access will conclude. But the hope would be that we've got a little bit of time to make that, to take those steps to get the bill over the finish line ahead of the end of April deadline. Congresswoman. We were waiting, actually. We weren't going to leave till you got here.
Well, you could have.
No. You can close for us.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. And it's great to have the National Association of Counties here in Washington talking about the issues that matter for county and local governments across the country. I was just in a meeting. I got in late. The weather has complicated air travel, but with some of my Michigan members who are in town, and I know the importance of your efforts. We're going to bring our nation's infrastructure into the 21st century. We need to continue to expand access to affordable high-speed internet. Even before the pandemic, far too many people across the country and in Michigan were disconnected and unable to participate in today's digital age. Now more than ever, America depends on high-speed internet for everything from school to healthcare to work and job opportunities. And it's why in the Congress we fought, Democrats and Republicans together, to include the Affordable Connectivity Program in the bipartisan infrastructure law. It is recognized as one of the most successful initiatives connecting households today. In just a few years since the program was launched, 23 million American families, an estimated 64 million people, are already utilizing the Affordable Connectivity Program. And people don't understand. There are mothers and fathers that were driving to McDonald's parking lots to be able to just connect their child's computer or their iPad. It was during the pandemic, it shined a light on so many problems that we have. In Michigan, 1 in 5 households depends on the ACP to be able to have that connection at home. But funding is running out soon. And already I have people calling me saying, they're telling me I'm not going to be able to keep my internet. I'm not going to be able to afford it. Millions of families who have come to depend upon this. It's their connection to so many things. If you're in a rural area, it's how you're able to go to see a doctor. Telehealth is more important than ever. It just connects you to so many different things. And they're going to be facing higher, or quite frankly, for too many unaffordable internet prices. And they're risking they're going to lose connection at work, at school, healthcare, and all the economic opportunities that this program has begun. So we have a bipartisan, bicameral bill to save this program, and we need to pass it. I'm begging everybody to tell their legislators we've got to get it done. I know that I have colleagues on both sides that want to get it done, and I'm going to work with them to get it done. So thank you for coming and making your voices heard, and we're going to deliver for you.
Well, as one of her colleagues, if there are any last questions, I'm happy.
I do have a question.
We're going to go here and then here. Yes.
I'm Tara with Inside Health Policy. I was wondering, I report a lot on telehealth. Has telehealth as a service given access through the ACP funds been helpful in kind of for the legislation to be passed either sort of standalone?
Well, I will say that the short answer is yes. And in particular, on our side of the aisle, a lot of rural communities population. They know the benefit of telehealth. And by the way, not just physical, but mental health. And then the county leaders who have, in many ways, become the conduit. It may be Medicaid supported, or it may be privately supported. They're the conduit for delivering those services in many cases. That is a very powerful message, and families understand it and are communicating with their members.
Thank you.
Okay. My question is if you can talk about the economic impact that this will have on small businesses and job creation. I've talked to some of the small providers that are providing the ACP, and if the fund is not replenished, people will be laid off. So if you can talk about that aspect of why
You
it
said
is.
it very well yourself in asking the question. I think people don't have any idea how many people are going to have been impacted. I gave you the number just in Michigan. And when this program's not available, people, we don't understand how many people can't afford access to the internet, how they've been cut off, how we're trying to build it out so that people are. Did you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say also that we keep talking about this as a three-legged stool. Access is the first thing, right? Second, so the full build out of the middle mile networks, the end of line networks, last mile, all of those, absolutely necessary. The quality of it, as we've talked about, with all the initiatives to really get the lines right, to get the internet, also what we see coming with our high altitude but low atmospheric solutions that we see in rural communities. But the third thing is cost. And so a lot of people talk about this akin to even healthcare, where if you don't have all three legs of that stool, it falls. It's wobbly. And so for us, the biggest concern is that the individuals that we're working with, it's taken years to sign up this many families, right? And if we lose this, if this gap extends, the questions about a CR, all these other things with us, is not only not taking more people, the enrollment being stopped, but losing this program and then to go back into those areas is just a travesty. So
And many of the, as you mentioned, many of the communities are getting service from small providers, not the big
Yeah.
corporations. Those small providers, they need the volume and the customer base to stay afloat. You lose some of these families, they may lose all access, and then those who don't even benefit from ACP may not have access either. Anyone else? Yeah.
Are there any, like in places like the county or rural California or upstate New York, are there any other options for folks to get funding for the internet, or is this it?
Well, we also want to thank our congressional leaders for the ARPA funding, because we were able to extend benefits, digital benefits to our constituents with the ARPA funding. But at this time, the benefit that is needed is ACP. We must extend this program, or as was stated earlier, a lot of families, it will be life altering for a lot of the families. The district I represent is a very under-resourced district. I say it has interconnected disparities. There's so many factors that contribute to a shortened lifespan. So this program if it ends, it will be life altering for many of my residents, specifically in my district.
And I can say in my community that because of the remote nature and smaller populations, the cost per person to construct it for the often smaller providers is very high. So the costs are high, and so it just puts it out of reach for a lot of people in these communities, and particularly the tribal nations, which have made a lot of progress but have not, gotten over the hump of complete build out and complete adoption. With the loss of the tribal component to this, will just be devastating.
Because not everyone's from upstate New York, we'll take one last and then let everyone get inside. I don't want you to freeze.
So this question is for the county officials, but the people on the program, were notified, I think 2 weeks ago, that they could lose. Are you hearing from them? Or are you getting a reaction from
two things. One is, as Congresswoman said, we are getting people outraged. But the danger is a lot of the people we're talking about are not the loudest with local government all the time, right? They're the folks that we have to do extreme outreach. We have to reach out. We have to do this. They're the folks who were the most harmed during the pandemic, right? We saw the spikes in the data. We saw all of this. And so for us, really, the biggest concern is that it doesn't matter how loud or not loud they are, is that if we don't do this, which in all reality, school, telehealth, and all these things, we're talking about utility, more of a public utility that's dominated by private companies. If we don't have some kind of a government subsidy that bridges that gap and gets us forward, then we're not doing our jobs. We're not doing our jobs. And even county services have become more digital, right? And so we have to go out into our elder care facilities. We have to go out into other areas, into schools that are underserved. So yes, once again, we hear it, but we just know this is important. This is it. It's go time.
What's the legitimate role of government? Government's there to do public goods.
Yeah.
This is, before the pandemic, people did not realize how disconnected so many people were. We've allowed more people to become connected, and we're suddenly going to cut those who can least afford it, who need more of those services, who need the help off. And this is something that I believe is a legitimate role for us to keep our communities strong.
Not agreement, we should end.